Companies are continually urged to make the most of their specialness, their uniqueness. Now, how do you go about that, both finding it and capitalising on it? Now, to help us explore this issue is Professor Cliff Bowman. Now, Cliff, is it worth the effort of finding out what makes you special?
It most certainly is. What you need to do is to understand what's giving you advantage in the marketplace that you're in. It's something about the product or service that you're offering which is valued by your particular customers. If you can identify what those dimensions are that are critical to them and why they choose you over a rival, then you can work back from there and say, well, okay, what enables us to deliver that level of customer value efficiently? Now that takes us back inside the organisation, and what we found is that you start to uncover sources of advantage, as we would call them, which are not obvious things, and they're often they're very particular and peculiar, idiosyncratic to the organisation. They're things which have been built up over the years, typically, okay? And they're things like relationships that people have, specific people have with specific clients, right? Know-how that a particular designer has that we manage to keep and develop. Tacit routines, which is a collective performance of a team of people that really helps to serve these clients in an effective way, much more responsively than rivals can. People use the term culture often to describe this, which is a very catch-all phrase, but there will be aspects of how we do things which give us that little edge, okay? Which means that, for example, when our salespeople go out into the field, they behave in a way which gives people more confidence that the organisation is going to deliver. Now, if we can identify what these sources of advantage are, we call them strategic assets and capabilities, then the minimum thing we can do is to protect them. Protect them from changes that would otherwise disturb these sources of advantage. Better still, we might be able to think about where we can take these capabilities and assets to build new types of business, so where these capabilities would add value somewhere else, okay? And we might strive to think about how we can create more sources of advantage like this. But the starting point must be understanding what are the strategic assets that we currently have.
So your message would be, don't necessarily try and emulate the fabulous success of an Apple or a Google or something like that. Look inwards, try and understand where your uniqueness comes from.
Absolutely. Any generic solution that's often contained in popular management books cannot give you a specific advantage. It stands to reason. Because if we've all got the same thing, then by definition nobody's differentiated one from another. So you need to look inside the firm. Each firm's unique. It has a unique history, a pathway that it's gone down. And there's some good bits and some not so good bits, okay? But it's figuring out what those really good bits are and then making sure that we capitalise on those and protect them.
Can you do this on your own? I mean, obviously you've helped organisations do this. Is there something where a management team can sit round and do that?
I think what we need to do is to build the capability in the executives themselves, so they're able to do this kind of thinking and this kind of analysis themselves. Anytime you involve an external person, consultant or agent from outside into the process, disturbs the process in some way. And there's always the issue of commitment and belief. I mean, I've done consulting work in the past where I've gone in and during the process people seem to be on board and they're committed to it. But I view it like an elastic band, you know. I've pulled them over to here, to my way of thinking about their organisation. And that's great as long as I'm there. But as soon as I go away, boing, we go back to where we were. And it's understandable. The other thing I'd say, final thing I'd say about this, is that you can't pass the buck for strategy to a consultant, okay? If a consultant comes up with a strategy for your organisation and you look at it, and they've done all the analysis, right? But at a gut level, you don't feel it's right for you, then I would go with your gut feel, because that factors in so many more nuanced angles of the organisation, subtle differences that isn't necessarily going to be obvious to an outside person analysing data that he can get hold of.
So a key message for managers then is it's down to you. You really need to get hold of that uniqueness and make the most of it.
And you need the strategic capability yourself to be able to do that job yourself.
Cliff, thank you very much.